Throughout human history, isolated forests and quiet lakes have hidden unexplained mysteries. Deep within these lonely landscapes, people witnessed strange things they could not easily explain. These early encounters birthed stories passed around fires and town squares. Soon, isolated whispers transformed into serious accounts, with witnesses swearing their terrifying encounters were absolutely real. Over generations, entire communities documented these creatures in local records and regional newspapers. They were not viewed as fiction, but as genuine threats living just beyond the tree line. Yet, as the modern world expanded and wilderness retreated, these legendary names began to fade. Science and exploration slowly replaced the shadows where these 10 mysterious creatures once thrived. The accounts became categorized as mere folklore, dismissed by historians as the products of overactive imaginations. The once feared monsters were quietly buried beneath decades of modern progress. But these 10 names are not entirely lost to history. Deep in local archives and fading diaries, the original panic and documented sightings still linger for those looking closely. They remained fascinating echoes of a time when the unknown was fiercely respected. Their enduring legends remind us of how wild and mysterious the world once truly felt. Whether rooted in misidentified animals or genuine anomalies, these forgotten beasts shaped our ancestors' lives. Today, we unearth 10 terrifying legends blurring the line between myth and reality. Deep within the Pine Barrens of New Jersey, a historical legend thrives. Since the 1700s, this isolated wilderness has harbored stories of an elusive, terrifying entity. For generations, historians and residents have examined the enduring legacy of this regional myth. The story remains deeply intertwined with the cultural identity of early American settlers. Witnesses across 3 centuries have consistently described a bizarre, composite entity. They report a creature possessing expansive, bat-like wings that allow it to traverse the forest canopy. Its physical form is said to feature the distinct head of a horse. This striking feature, combined with its aerial presence, solidified its terrifying reputation in local lore. Beneath its formidable frame, the entity stands on powerful, hooved feet. These specific details have been passed down through generations, maintaining a remarkably consistent description over time. Perhaps the most chilling aspect of the legend is its auditory presence. An eerie, piercing scream frequently echoes through the isolated trails, terrifying those who venture deep inside. These haunting sounds have become a staple of local tales, passed from family to family. The accounts successfully blend documented history with the unexplainable mysteries of the wilderness. Today, the Jersey Devil stands as a uniquely American legend. It continues to captivate the imagination, serving as a powerful symbol of folklore born in the Pine Barrens. In the 1960s, the quiet town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, became the center of a chilling mystery. Residents began reporting encounters with an inexplicable, terrifying phenomenon. Witness accounts described a massive, winged figure lurking in the shadows of an abandoned munitions plant. It was unlike anything the local population had ever seen before. The descriptions were remarkably consistent. People spoke of a towering entity possessing broad, powerful wings and, most famously, intensely glowing red eyes that pierced the darkness. Soon, the press dubbed this enigmatic figure the Mothman. What began as isolated nighttime encounters quickly escalated into a widespread regional panic fueled by countless eyewitness reports. As sightings peaked, a sense of impending dread blanketed the community. Many locals began to believe the creature's sudden appearance served as a dark omen of approaching disaster. This atmosphere of fear culminated tragically in December 1967. The Silver Bridge suddenly collapsed into the Ohio River, claiming 46 lives in a devastating real-world catastrophe. Following the horrific collapse, Mothman sightings abruptly ceased. This chilling coincidence permanently linked the cryptid to the tragic event in the minds of many who lived through it. Today, the Mothman endures as a captivating cultural icon. It remains a uniquely American legend, perfectly bridging the gap between unexplained folklore and devastating historical reality. In the mid-1990s, a terrifying new mystery emerged across Latin America. Farmers and rural communities suddenly found themselves facing an unseen, predatory threat, unlike anything recorded before. Reports began spreading rapidly from Puerto Rico, detailing bizarre attacks on livestock. The mysterious assailant left behind animal carcasses entirely drained of blood, fueling a growing panic. Local populations soon gave this elusive predator a name, the Chupacabra. The terrifying title translated directly to Goatsucker, capturing the specific nature of the devastating attacks. Initial eyewitness accounts described a bizarre alien-like entity. Witnesses claimed to see a reptilian creature that hopped on two legs, featuring sharp spines running down its back. As the legend spread to North America, the descriptions began to shift. In places like Texas, the creature was more frequently reported as a strange, hairless canine. Scientific investigations later identified many of these mainland specimens as coyotes. Severe cases of mange had left the animals unrecognizable, explaining their hairless, almost monstrous appearance. Despite these rational scientific explanations, the original myth refused to die. The stories continued to circulate globally, morphing into a staple of modern internet-era folklore. Today, the Chupacabra remains a powerful pop culture phenomenon. It stands as a captivating modern mystery, forever blending biological reality with the enduring power of human imagination. Deep in the freezing forests of North America, winter brought silence and starvation. For the Algonquian people, the bitter cold hid a terrifying threat. They called it the Wendigo. Born from the darkest fears of the long winter, it was an evil spirit of insatiable hunger and endless greed. Folklore describes a gaunt, horrifying figure. Its skin was pulled tight over frozen bones, its eyes sunken, forever roaming the icy woods in search of prey. But the Wendigo was more than a monster. It was a dark reflection of humanity. It represented the ultimate taboo born from desperate survival: cannibalism. Legends warned that anyone consumed by greed or forced into unspeakable acts to survive the frost could transform. The human spirit would shatter, creating a Wendigo. This terrifying myth served a vital purpose. It enforced social harmony and sharing during the hardest months, ensuring the community survived the brutal elements together. Historical accounts even speak of Wendigo psychosis. It was a real, documented condition where delirious victims deeply feared they were turning into the monstrous creature. Today, the Wendigo remains a powerful symbol. It stands as a haunting reminder of the fragile line between human survival and the savage depths of winter. In the remote province of Gévaudan, France, a nightmare began in the summer of 1764. The rolling hills became the hunting ground for a lethal creature. For 3 long years, terror gripped the countryside. A massive predator targeted shepherds and children, claiming dozens of lives and leaving a trail of panic. Survivors described a beast unlike any native wolf. It was unusually large, with russet fur, dark stripes, and a devastatingly powerful bite that defied explanation. The escalating death toll captured the attention of King Louis XV. He deployed royal troops, elite hunters, and massive bounties to destroy the monster. Tens of thousands of men scoured the forests in sweeping hunts. They killed hundreds of wolves, yet the brutal attacks on innocent villagers continued without pause. In 1765, the king's gunbearer shot a massive wolf. The royal court declared the nightmare over, but months later, the deadly strikes suddenly resumed. Finally, in the summer of 1767, a local hunter named Jean Chastel shot another enormous canine. Following this decisive kill, the horrific attacks stopped. To this day, the exact nature of the Beast of Gévaudan remains a mystery. It stands as a chilling true chapter of survival and historical terror. Deep within the dramatic valleys of British Columbia lies Okanagan Lake. Its vast, dark waters stretch for over 100 kilometers, concealing secrets beneath the surface. Long before modern settlements, the indigenous Syilx people held a deep reverence for the lake. They spoke of a powerful spirit residing in the depths. They named this sacred entity Naitaka. Tradition dictated that travelers offer respect, and sometimes small sacrifices, to ensure safe passage across the unpredictable waters. In the late 19th century, European settlers arrived in the valley. Soon, new stories emerged as settlers witnessed strange phenomena that challenged their understanding. Eyewitnesses described a massive, multi-humped serpentine creature. It moved with an undulating motion, cutting through the calm water and leaving a large, inexplicable wake. By the 1920s, the legendary creature acquired a new identity. It was named Ogopogo, inspired by a popular whimsical English music hall song of the era. Over the decades, numerous photographs, film recordings, and hundreds of credible sightings have fueled global curiosity, launching official searches and scientific debates. Today, the mystery of Ogopogo persists. It remains a powerful cultural symbol, bridging ancient indigenous traditions with modern humanity's enduring fascination with the unknown. For centuries, the cold, dark waters of the North Atlantic held a terrifying secret. Scandinavian sailors spoke in hushed tones of a nightmare lurking in the deep. They called it the Kraken. Legends described an immense, multi-tentacled monster capable of rising from the abyss to wrap its massive limbs around unsuspecting ships. With unimaginable strength, the beast would drag entire vessels and their crews down into the churning waves, leaving no survivors behind to tell the tale. These harrowing stories filled early maritime maps with illustrations of sea monsters, warning travelers of the perilous, uncharted dangers awaiting them at the edge of the world. But as science advanced, the myth began to unravel. Researchers started finding evidence that these terrifying ancient legends were rooted in a remarkable biological reality. Deep-sea encounters and washed-up specimens revealed the existence of the giant squid. These elusive creatures can grow to staggering lengths, featuring massive tentacles and haunting, intelligent eyes. Living in the midnight zone of the ocean, their sudden, rare appearances to early mariners undoubtedly sparked the wildly exaggerated tales of the legendary Kraken. Today, the Kraken stands as a testament to human imagination. It shows how real, wondrous ocean biology can transform into timeless folklore that still captivates us. Deep within the dense, uncharted jungles of the Congo River Basin lies a vast, isolated wilderness. It is a place where ancient secrets still feel entirely possible. For generations, local communities have shared accounts of a mysterious entity. They call it Mokele-Mbembe, a name meaning one who stops the flow of rivers. Oral traditions describe a colossal, semi-aquatic creature. It possesses a long, flexible neck, a powerful tail, and a massive body resembling a dinosaur from a forgotten era. In the early 20th century, Western explorers and missionaries began documenting these vivid stories. Their published reports introduced the strange African legend to an intrigued global audience. Driven by the tantalizing prospect of discovering a living prehistoric relic, numerous scientific and amateur expeditions ventured deep into the perilous, swampy terrain of the Likuala region. Explorers faced extreme hardships, navigating dense swamps and intense heat. They returned with compelling eyewitness testimonies from locals, but no conclusive physical evidence was ever found. Skeptics attribute the sightings to known animals like elephants or hippopotamuses seen from afar, yet the lack of definitive proof has never fully extinguished the mystery. Today, Mokele-Mbembe remains a powerful symbol of the unknown. It continues to inspire modern adventurers, keeping alive our enduring fascination with the hidden worlds of our planet. Across the vast, sun-drenched landscape of Australia, hidden waterways hold an ancient mystery. For millennia, the country's deep billabongs and murky swamps have been shrouded in secrecy. Indigenous Aboriginal oral traditions speak of a terrifying spirit inhabiting these dark waters. They called this mysterious and elusive creature the Bunyip, a name whispered with deep reverence. Descriptions varied across different tribal nations. Some described a feathered spirit, while others spoke of a massive, furred beast with a dog-like face and a chilling, booming cry. The legend served a vital practical purpose. Elders used stories of the Bunyip to keep children away from dangerous deep waters, ensuring the safety of the community's youth. In the 19th century, European settlers arrived and began exploring the swamps. They soon encountered these vivid stories, launching frantic searches for physical evidence of the mysterious beast. Modern scientists offer a fascinating theory. They suggest Bunyip legends may stem from cultural memories of extinct megafauna, like the Diprotodon, which once roamed alongside early humans. Fossilized bones discovered in caves and riverbeds likely reinforced these ancient tales. To early settlers and indigenous peoples alike, these giant remains proved a monster once existed. Today, the Bunyip remains a powerful cultural icon. It beautifully bridges the gap between ancient indigenous dreamtime stories, prehistoric reality, and Australia's enduring fascination with the unknown wilderness. Along the quiet banks of the Little Miami River in Ohio, an unusual legend was born. In Loveland, the ordinary suddenly gave way to the bizarre. The mystery began in May of 1955. A traveling businessman reportedly witnessed 3 strange, upright creatures congregating along a dark roadside, sparking decades of intense local curiosity. Witnesses described the figures as standing nearly 4 feet tall. They possessed distinct, leathery skin, webbed hands and feet, and haunting faces resembling oversized bipedal frogs or lizards. For nearly 2 decades, the unusual story lingered as a quiet local rumor. But in March of 1972, the legend suddenly re-emerged through official channels. A Loveland police officer driving along an icy road spotted a strange silhouette. In his headlights, a creature stood upright before climbing over the guardrail and disappearing downriver. Weeks later, a second officer witnessed the same figure. He fired a shot at the retreating shape, later identifying it as a large, escaped pet iguana. Despite the rational explanation offered by law enforcement, the unusual tale had already gripped the public's imagination. The legend of the Loveland Frogman rapidly spread across the nation. Today, the bizarre creature remains a celebrated piece of Ohio folklore. It stands as a fascinating example of how brief, unexplained encounters can permanently shape local history.